I'm Alex Morash, and let's clear up the world view. Ghana's parliament approves bill criminalizing LGBTQ identity. Ghana's parliament has approved a controversial anti-LGBTQ bill that would criminalize identity as queer and imposing prison sentences of up to 3 years. The bill also criminalizes promotion of LGBTQ activities and introduces a quote-unquote duty to report act considered illegal under the law. Allies supporting the queer community could also face imprisonment. Exemptions would apply to people in the legal, media, and healthcare sectors who report on LGBTQ+ issues or provide medical care to queer individuals. President John Dramani Mahama has not yet signed the bill into law, but religious leaders are urging him to approve it. Reverend John Frazier, who sponsored the legislation, told Parliament on May 29th that the measure would protect Ghana's cultural and family values and make anti-LGBTQ laws more robust and more encompassing and more strident in dealing with the practices of LGBTQI individuals. Same-sex relations between men have been illegal in Ghana since British colonial rule, but the new bill would punish people simply for identifying as queer. International human rights groups have condemned the legislation. A similar bill passed in 2024, but was never signed into law by the former president due to legal concerns. I'm glad that the article mentioned a very important point. Whenever we talk about African countries, a lot of people are like, oh, they're so primitive. Like, it has to do with British rule. This all comes down to British colonialism really has screwed up so many different nations, and I think is a big driver of a lot of this homophobia. I know others will say that there's some other things going on. Bobby, are there any other factors at play here that we?
Of course, there's, for example, ever since American evangelicals, with people such as Scott Lively, who compared gays to the Nazis, and they are the drivers behind a lot of these extreme anti-LGBTQ legislation that are now popping up. And the thing is, they are coming from a place where they resent the fact that they can no longer impose their values at home in the United States, where LGBTQ rights were growing from leaps and bounds in the early 21st century. And so they decided to spread their hatred outward. They know that they
have imperialism.
I have a theory. This is my theory, and I don't have anything to back it up. It's just my pattern recognition. I think that they feel that ultimately the United States is going to go, quote unquote, more liberal, and they want to set up bastions and safe places for them and their followers to be able to go, perhaps in places like Africa where they can reimpose some kind of a colonial system and know that the laws are already in place that are aligned to their exact prejudices and hatreds.
The thing is, there was all these talk about quote-unquote traditional values were not traditional at all. They were, as Alex said, a lot of them were imposed by Victorian England and colonial English laws where anti-gay, specifically anti-gay and sentiments was high. And now they're borrowing also playbook from Russia, for example. Russia has decriminalized gay sex. You can actually have sex with people of the same gender. You cannot promote it or identify yourself as LGBTQ or anything else.
No Hotspots magazine.
Yeah, no Hotspots magazine, no queer representation. I mean, someone was arrested because they streamed Heated Rivalry or wrote a review of Heated Rivalry.
Well, I have to say I've seen some clips of that, and that is some softcore.
Well, I mean, it is HBO.
I'm not justifying anything that Russia's doing. Just saying it is.
And while Italy is moving gaily forward, Ghana is moving backwards.
Yeah.
Well, shame on Ghana's parliament. I mean, don't they have more pressing issues to deal with than this?
Well, I'd like to think that in 2 years, when someone gets kicked out of the White House, that we have someone who in our leadership who will not continue the trade relations that they're enjoying right now, because, Ghana has agricultural, financial tech, mining, mineral rights, tourism. They're also participating with FIFA, from what I understand. They sent representatives out. They sent representatives to help us celebrate our 250th birthday. And after hearing this story, kind of makes me feel a little bit
just wanna
sick.
kick them in the butt.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I
Ghana
understand.
has very good relations with the U.S. I noticed that both Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Obama had all visited the country. Kamala Harris, as vice president, also visited Ghana. They have that's the other thing, is that they're not like this random crazy country. Like they're pretty normally
functional.
legit
I mean,
country. It's a very odd thing of them.
Well, but in terms of what they're doing now with the LGBT community, I think we need someone to come to our.
We did impose sanctions on Uganda, and people do actually, when certain countries, European countries specifically, they have denied aid to countries that impose harsh anti-LGBTQ rules. I mean, Uganda is seen that basically the entire tourism industry evaporates when
I
this
didn't even
law
know
was
they had a
imposed.
tourism industry.
People go to
until you just
safari.
told me.
Well, people go to safaris. People do things. People do things that are typical in that particular region of Africa to attract tourism. See the elephants or whatever.
And as we did that story the other day about the gay dollar, about
we have such
don't
nonsense.
travel to these
Don't
countries.
travel.
Don't give them our money.
Just
Exactly.
a little anecdotal thing. I have a student in my class. He's African American, and I said, "What are your plans over the summer?" He's a great kid. He said, "I'm actually going to Ghana." And I said, "Oh, you're going to Ghana? What's in Ghana?" He said, "Oh, my family lives there now." And I said, "Oh, are they Ghanaian? Am I saying that right?
Ghanan.
Are they Ghana? Okay. Are they from Ghana?" And he said, "Well, no, not originally, but my part of my family actually moved to Ghana. So I believe that there's this African American growing consciousness around reclaiming their African ancestry." And I think a lot of, for anecdotally, I don't have the numbers to back this up, but from what I've heard here and there are African American people that are kind of reclaiming their indigeneity to the land in Africa, and they're moving to places like Ghana and Liberia. We could get into a whole thing about how Liberia was
that was originally started.
Yes. So it's all very fascinating. And I said to him, "Oh, is this your first time?" He said, "No, I've been going there every summer for like 5 years," which I thought was very interesting. So,
But part of
We are noticing, I don't know specifically the race breakdown, but a lot of Americans are leaving the country right now. Like that we are seeing actually an exodus from this country. So you might be onto something.
and I also think that again, I have to say that I'm not the most well educated on this, but I know enough to say this, that I do believe that places like Liberia, West Africa, Ghana, which are all part of West Africa, that they are offering citizenship or at least permanent residency to African Americans because of their, maybe not necessarily their role in the slave trade, but the fact that a lot of the people that ended up enslaved in the Americas came from West
form of
Africa.
reparation.
Yeah, well, I
former
it's-
repatriation. more like.
I don't want
like
to say that.
Ireland
but-
and Italy and other countries have done that for theirs, who were not kidnapped to come to the
Sure.
United
Right,
States.
right.
So it would make
Indentured
sense
servitude.
for a country
Right.
like Ghana to do that too.
It's all very fascinating. We should spend a whole show on this, and we should get some experts in the field. But I just want to say there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.